Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center and I'm here with Mary-Lyn, Ludovica and David with their movie Tijuana. Let's take a look at the clip.
¿La tequila está segura?
En buenas manos. ¿Y los hermanos González?
Ellos piensan que mi empleado se lo robó y que nunca la van a encontrar.
Muy bien. El vendedor americano. El pago y la transferencia se harán mientras cenamos.
Entonces, suficiente de negocios. Vamos a celebrar.
Así.
Have a glass or maybe two and dance all over town.
Thank you all for being here and congratulations on your film.
Thank you.
For those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis, Mary-Lyn.
Sure. It is set in 1920s and it follows Carmen. She is a fiercely intelligent, ambitious, has a tremendous business savvy, can speak several different languages, and given that it's set during US Prohibition during the 1920s in Mexico, where women don't have a lot of voice in society, she puppeteers everybody to give rise to her own tequila smuggling empire. So all of her skills, like her language skills, her business savvy, her beauty, her sexiness, her manipulativeness, are all superpowers, and she sort of goes into a room and susses out which superpower to use to pull the levers in order to rise her own sort of agenda. So it's a very exciting project, and our ambition with it, we created a 15-minute short, and our ambition with it is to turn it into a television series. So we've got a lot of momentum happening around that at the moment. And the story itself was inspired by David Black Plasencia, my friend and partner on this project. His great-grandfather was the chief of police during the time frame of our film, and so we have kind of collaborated and co-created this together.
I loved it. I was captivated by it. I really was, and I'm glad that there's talks for more because I wanted to see more. For you, David, firstly on camera, wow. I can't believe it's the same person sitting right here. It must have been really inspirational as well that your grandfather obviously, was the chief himself, and how amazing that must feel that you're playing this in this particular role during this time. What was the experience like playing this role, and then obviously working with Mary-Lyn? What's that experience been like for you?
Oh, it was a fascinating experience, but with lots of preparation. Working with Mary-Lyn she's like a top-notch director, and her standards are higher than high. So I had to raise my standards. And with her right there with me, I credit her for inspiring me to do more and to give more. I wanted to, give everything I could for this role.
Yeah, and you did.
And I wanted to be honest, I wanted to play a different role than what I'm used to. I'm always the tough guy, the crazy dude.
Yeah.
I want to be like Fredo from The Godfather.
Yeah.
Vulnerable to pain, to things that are like human.
Yeah.
To show shed a light, a positive light from the perspective of the Tijuana Mexicans, or from Mexico, that we're not all bandits and crazy people. We're humans. We have emotions like everybody else.
Yeah, and it was a fact. I don't feel like we see enough films from that time period. Kind of just how different it was during that time as well, and the fact, obviously, it's a city that's so close to the United States. It's literally an hour away from here. It's insane. One of the things that I was just captivated also by was just I felt like it was shot so closely. I felt I was there, which almost made me feel uncomfortable. Which brings me on to you, who did what a great job you did as a cinematographer, Ludovica. How was that experience for you? How do you come about working on this project?
So this is like the fourth project that Mary-Lyn and I work together on. So. I love her, and I would follow her to any of her adventure as long as she wants me, because it really is what David was saying. It's empowering working with her because she does ask this much, and so she pushes you to do your best job, and I think we did.
We did.
We had our resources, like for any short movie, were like limited. Our time was very limited, but I think we focused on like two things. One that was like the humanity, like the human side of the story, which is like a common theme to like Mary-Lyn approach to her stories and to her movies in general. Like focusing, like really making the individual shine and really make their emotional, their psychological process like on screen, and dig deep through the camera work. But also, I think the other element that we played with and that she gave me pretty much freedom to explore was the element of lighting, because Carmen.
It's powerful to watch actually the things that you used.
Yeah, because Carmen, because you imagine Mexico and it's like bright and shiny and bright color, but she's a beauty, so she is like a light in the room, but at the same time there's like so much darkness, and like she really moves in the border, like in shades. She's comfortable in darkness, and like and that's a realm. And I think like you can see that in certain scene, and like even in the seduction scene where like we don't show much, but you see her like in like with this like lights in her face, and like you barely see her, but like that's where she's comfortable. She's the queen of darkness, and she can move through it. So you
felt it without even actually having to show it. You just manipulated us. It was great. No, one of the things that was also wonderful is that you kind of touched upon a subject that I think people don't really know about as well, which is kind of how did things really unravel during this time. Was that something that was important to you in writing this particular story? Because I think a lot of us today are a little bit uneducated in just understanding what was going on during that time period.
Right, exactly. Well, sort of piggybacking on what David had said, one commitment we have had all the way through this is to tell the story about the relationship between Mexico and America, and Tijuana and California, always being lensed from the Mexican perspective. So because I feel like the way that the world frames Tijuana is through the American perspective, right? We kind of know it to be dangerous, a place to go drinking, seedy, prostitution, all of those kinds of things. And what the incarnation of it now is very different to what it was during the 1920s. And due to sort of a meeting point of it was a beautiful intersection between Prohibition, Hollywood also forming around this time frame, and Tijuana sort of developing as a very small city that blossomed as a result of taking advantage of U.S. prohibition. So it was a lot of American businessmen were involved in funding this and doing the thinking behind it, and they partnered with the Mexican community and the Mexican government. And so it kicked off this very complex relationship between the two and the two cultures. So the opulence of the story is very accurate. Like there was a 10-acre hotel known as Agua Caliente that had its own race course, and it was a place where movie stars, mobsters, dignitaries, not just from the United States but all over the world, would go there and do business. And it was also a mineral spa kind of vibe, big ballrooms, and it was a way in which people could sort of obviously leave the doldrums of prohibition in the north and go, dance and drink and whiskey and whores and all of that, gamble, the whole shebang. And once the Depression started to hit, also escape that. And so what's really exciting about this project is that it's a world that we've never seen before, right? And we've never seen it from their perspective. So there were lots of amazing historical things that were happening at the same time. A little bit later, where we will bring in this relationship in the TV series. For example, eventually in the late 30s, when the US got into the World War II, they put pressure on Mexico to put their Japanese and German citizens into internment camps.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know that. They always think of that in the American construct. There was a deportation under Hoover during the Depression, where 1.7 million brown-skinned people with Mexican-sounding names, they weren't necessarily Mexican, many of them were indigenous to California, were deported in order to free up jobs for white people during the Depression. And so they arrived on the border of Tijuana and a lot of the border towns that they didn't speak Spanish, they didn't have any family there. Some of them were from Central America or South America. Like, none of it really made sense, and 60% of them were legal US citizens. And so it's one example of how we can explore these stories by using these true historical elements, weaving in David's family history, the rags to riches, the opulence, the poverty. It was a very international city. The Armenians were defecting and running from the Armenian genocide. So Tijuana is full of Armenians and Germans and Japanese and the Chinese. So it's, I mean, I know I'm going on and on, but it's an opportunity to unpack this endless story of these 2 decades and have these really rich characters and use that as a device to reframe what Tijuana is, explore this relationship between the US and Mexico and educate people.
100%. And I think that I'm glad that you shared that with us, because I think, you know, many of our viewers may not even know that story, and that's why it's important why you made this story. And can you just start filming tomorrow, please? Because that's how important it is. You know, I mean, there's nothing more powerful than when we can be entertained and educated at the same time. You know, it's incredible. I'm so glad that you're making this together. What was also fascinating for me in this little small snippet of what's going to be a longer journey is this whole, I mean, I felt I was in the 20s. Like, it was from everything from the costume to just the feel, the look, the everything. That's quite an undertaking for a short film. How was that experience for you as producers? Was that quite difficult?
To be straight honest, it's like by God's grace, miracles. We can't say that yes because of things just happened. We decided we're gonna do this, and the film brought all these elements to itself without explanation, through all these interesting circumstances, you know, and it just, you know, came together, right?
Yeah, it really did. I mean, you know,
and a lot of hard work.
A lot, yeah.
Of course, right?
Right. I mean, and I think, you know, David and I have zero social life, really, because we've been on this journey for 3 years, and, you know, I've been working on other projects, David's been working on Ludo, and I just shot a PSA commercial together, so we work on lots of different projects together, right? But this has been a 3-year journey, and to be quite honest, July has been such a magical month for us. So much momentum has been happening. Obviously, being in NewFilmmakers LA Film Festival was incredible. We had some pretty powerful meetings with entities that your festival introduced us to. And it's interesting because all of the people we met said, wow, I've never heard of an idea this strong, I want to see it. And so it's the response you're having and a lot of other people are having, not only at this festival but beyond. And we've also just been nominated for the Imagine Award, which is a really big deal.
Huge deal,
And then next to that, you know, we have partnered with an established television writer and producer. She was here with us last night, and she signed on this month. And she and I
what a great month for you guys.
It has been amazing. And she and I just got back from Tijuana, where we met with, because a lot of our actors are from Tijuana, so we met with some of their friends, and 3 of them are historians from Tijuana, so we have partnered with them. So now we're working on building the 3 seasons. Like, it's happening.
Isn't it great?
It feels
I love
so
this.
great. So
this is what it's all about, you know. And I personally been to Tijuana. I went to a football game there. I fell in love with the people, and I've toured quite a lot of Mexico, and I'm so happy when someone comes in and use the power of the moving image to really educate and enlighten through a true story and really unravel in things like you said we didn't know about, haven't been speaking about for whatever reason, because we should. And I think it's so important. I really do. So, I mean, what was it like? I mean, obviously it's got a longer journey to go, but what's it like having it in front of a live audience here at, you know, New Filmmakers and festivals. What is that experience like for you three?
It's a rock and roll tour. So we world premiered at Slamdance, which was a fantastic jumping off point for us. That's how we met the producer who we just signed on with. She actually was following our social media campaign, and she's a Latina, total badass, and she specializes in Spanish language, Mexican American content. And you know, we definitely feel this film is not just for Spanish language market, but definitely an English speaking, anybody could watch it and connect with it, right? So she sent a scout to Park City while Sundance and Slamdance was happening to view our pilot, to suss out whether it was good and whether it was something that she should get involved in. And the scout sort of was following us around like some weirdo, and then she's, you know, she reported back and she says, "You got to get on this. This is really great." And so when she pitched the producer to me, you know, she said, "Have you heard of Charo Toledo?" And I'd actually read about her before, and I said, "Yeah, I've heard about her." And she said, "Well, she'd like to take a meeting with you." And I said, "Well, is she kind?"
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to get in bed with somebody, I don't want someone with a big ego or their agendas. And this is kind of a, you know, we create this together. You know, this is the tone that I set with my work. And as we are sort of entering television with more money and bigger agendas, and you know, these conversations are going to get more challenging. But I just, at every little step of the way, as we're building the blocks, I want to make sure that the people are lining up with that philosophy and atmosphere.
And kind. I mean, it goes a long way, because when you've got people on the same page as you, and you know you're all going to work together, and there's trust that's there, it's half the battle, isn't it?
It is half the battle. And we have an industry that's got a reputation where even asking if someone is kind is kind of a radical, you know, because of all of the sort of abuse of power. You know, the expectation is everybody are difficult and angry and ego-driven, and you know, in addition to making really important work and reframing, you know, how we see this Mexican and American relationship, you know, as a woman and as an artist, you know, I'm changing and rebuilding a new
and speaking
set of
of
systems.
Speaking of which is, as well, you mentioned last night, which I love, is that you are also very conscious about showing, you know, a fairer quality both in front and behind camera and in storytelling, and how important that is, that we're shown a true representation of the world that we live in, and that's important to you in your work as well. I've
been doing that for a really long time, so I'm glad the world's finally caught up to me.
Right? No, really. You know, I think again, it should go without saying, but I'm glad that's part of what you do, because it's very important. So obviously this is coming, what's next for you? And I think you're also inspirational and got so many great different things that you offered in this project. I would just love to hear from you, from your individual perspective, both as maybe as an actor, as a cinematographer, as a director and writer, filmmakers out there that would want to follow in your shoes, and how, is there any advice individually that you go by that helps you in your journey that maybe could inspire others out there who'd love to follow in your footsteps?
You know, my take on that is simply just believe in yourself. You know, if you know you have it in you and you're surrounded by people that are, you know, to be fair, they just want the best for you, but it's okay that they don't understand. Accept the fact they don't understand. Manifest it, work hard at it, bring it to life, then they will understand. But don't get upset or let their thoughts impact your actions, because it's not fair to them. They don't get it. You have to prove it to them, but prove it to yourself mostly, and just do what you feel is right, and just take action and make it happen.
I love it. Thank you, David.
I think what she says is very important, like be kind. And I think, like, so be accountable as a human being, work with people that are like smarter, more like driven than you, and like more inspired than you, because both above and below you, because you're just as good as the people you work with. As a key, like as a department head, give space to the people that work for you. Like, empower them, let them bring creativity and what they can bring to the table.
love that.
Like, be a leader, don't be a boss, because that's not gonna work. And the other, for me, very important thing is like, be very responsible of the story you decide to tell, and like the message you're putting out there, because and what you show and what you just don't show, you know, about like violence or not violence, or like just be responsible. And because cinema is a very powerful tool, a lot of people watch movie and we make our job just for story to be told. So just be very aware about the story you tell and that you decide to tell.
Thank you.
Actually, just jumping on that, in our film, I'm very sensitive to violence, and this was the first time I had any kind of violence in a movie, and a character that died, and I was like, oh God, am I putting more bullshit out there that's just been done, and it's very tired. And it was one thing that I really appreciate with Ludo. It's like I want to see it out of focus or off camera, and so when he actually died, it was completely out of focus, and we ended up not getting that shot the night before. And when we got to work the next day, Ludo said, let's get there 30 minutes earlier. She grabbed the boots, grabbed a PA, she set it up, she's put it out of focus, and I was able to get the shot of him actually dying out of focus. And it was really important to me spiritually as well as
it's powerful too.
Yeah.
You know.
So
I'm going on from what's your take that you take as a director, writer, producer?
Your job is to serve the film, nothing else. And every one of your decisions has to come from that place, not about what looks good from the exterior, not driven by your ego. Surround yourself with people who are 10 times smarter than you, and let go of things that, you know, are not your area. Like I wouldn't, I look at her camera and I'm just like, I don't know what that is, you know. But really get the best cast that you can get. I think that's really important, and I see a lot of films and film festivals where the story's quite good, but the acting's weak, and that is the number one reason that you're not getting into festivals, is because you didn't go find the best cast possible. So take the time. There's no reason to live in a city and not find the best cast, so don't cast your friend, or like if you're casting your friends and doing stuff like that, it just reveals how inexperienced you are and you're not serving your film, right? You have to actually just go really to that bedrock of truth. And I think the other thing that's really important is tell the stories that are truthful to you, the ones that light you up inside. I think there's a lot of pressure on young people or people on the outside of the industry to ask, well, what is Hollywood making now? Why I'm going to make something Marvel-like, or I'm going to make something that's already been done before. The world isn't looking for that. The world is looking for fresh, new voices. They're looking for something that they've never seen before. And every artist, no matter what your discipline is, what makes you unique is you, your experience in this life, and the stories that are coming out of you. So trust that. Yeah. And that will be your most powerful card.
It's very, very, very vitally important. I love it. I've taken, you know, the essence of truly believing in yourself, being a leader, not a boss, because that's a great important statement as well. And the trust in yourself and in your vision. I think that's all very powerful things. I've learned a lot. I feel like I just had a TED talk. It's beautiful. You know, listen, thank you very much for this film. I'm so excited to see the continuation of this journey, and I can't wait just to watch it on that wonderful series, because you all deserve it and you work very hard. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being a part of that journey.
Thank you. Tier 1, everybody. Tier 1.